Hi,
Hi.
I'm with Sarcastic Grandpa. Where the heck did the weekend go? I'm right.
How
That's
about
that should be the theme of today.
where has this month gone? Where has today gone?
Also true.
All the things are true.
Also true.
It can't possibly be already September 16th. Can't possibly already be 2 p.m. today. But yet, apparently those things are true.
Here we are.
Hello, everyone. Vector, Mechanized Imposter, Paint Liquor, Panic Bomb, Noir.
What's going on, everybody? Hello. How we doing?
Welcome back.
How we doing? I'm
It's
stealing
Monday.
the thing.
Things.
It's okay. Live Assault, what's going on? Papa Chicken. Hello.
Papa
It's
Chicken's
just
only
mom and dad
saying-
today.
Papa Chicken's only saying hello to chat, as far as I can tell.
Oh, he said sup chat.
Yeah.
Not sup Jen and Jason.
Right. And chat.
People that make the whole world
Or like
a better
Night,
place.
Night Elf Mohawk, sup everyone. There you go. That includes us.
Sup everybody. What's going on?
Hello, Flapjack Nickelsack. We're doing okay, except we're confused about how we got here already. Be fresh. Ahoy.
I think I was using, I don't remember what I was using. I'm gonna go with Dark Steve Ben again. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. The week is back at it. And what was I doing? Maybe. Oh no, it was like dark green brown, maybe? I never remember what I was doing. No
Too short of a
idea.
weekend. 2 days not enough.
2 days not enough.
Where can I sign up for
The 3-day weekend?
A minimum of 3. What?
A minimum of 3?
A minimum of 3 days.
That sounds like you're pushing for 4.
I mean, I would love 4.
Ah. I don't think we can do that.
No?
No. I don't think that's possible.
Add one onto each end.
No. Because then you'll need one added onto those add-ons.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I see where this is going.
I mean,
I'll be like, I work Wednesday.
yeah.
No. Not going to happen.
Half day on Wednesday.
Half day on Wednesday. All right, gang. So if you
I'm here 4 hours a week.
looking to order any Monument Hobbies stuff,
Thank you, Gabe. I knew I liked you.
what do you say?
My side.
Huh?
He's on my side.
Ugh. These people. You see what I have to put up with, chat? You see what I have to put up with, chat?
I mean, Jordan got to take days off. He's off tomorrow, too. That's what you get for arguing with the Lord Commander. Unfortunately, if I took that many days off in a week, I would spend them thinking about all the things that I was not getting done. So I wouldn't enjoy them. Philip, you're on my side. Trust me. Gabe will vouch for me.
Jeez. How do you
Hello,
know?
good
Philip might be on my side.
People who live on the surface of the sun. It's actually, it's still 98 degrees.
Yeah, it's not good yet.
It was looking pretty cloudy. Like it was supposed to have rained all day yesterday, and it didn't rain at all.
That didn't happen.
And now it's saying that it might start raining in 7 minutes. We'll see. Jordan always abandoning stream, typical, right?
Yep. Got to know who loves you, chat.
Yep. We're here.
Those of us that really care, we're here.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could just have a couple of days where the to-do list was already completed? That's a good solution as well. We can figure out how to make that happen. I would be on board. Gabe said Philip is on my side, Jen's side, but we'll be here 7 days a week to cover Jen and Gabe when we only work 3 days a week. I thought we were only working one, Gabe. Wednesdays. But that's true.
Jen's only putting a half day on Wednesday in last I checked.
Really
I don't know
only
what you're
Wednesday.
talking about.
But yes, I agree. Philip would definitely be on my side, but he would be the one making up for the work that we didn't do. That's why we love Philip. That's just one reason. Had to drive to Tucson. Happy there was no rain. Yeah, driving in the rain is no fun in Arizona. Because people don't know how to do it. Good luck, Phil. You just move in. Bring a pillow and a blanket. There's some space under your desk. That's your new apartment. Hello, Jade. How's your weekend? You've caught? Perfect. Actually, I mean, the comfy chairs are here. Free rent sounds great. Well, you didn't say anything about free. Kinda me too. Papa Chicken said, I know rain in Arizona is pretty intense when you get it, but doesn't it just boil down to extra following distance and going a speed appropriate for conditions? Yeah, try telling that to all the people out here who don't do that like 360 days out of the year. The 5 days that it rains, they don't know what to do. Quad Tomato, thank you. 34 months and Baby J isn't here. Typical, right? Definitely let him know the next time you see him.
Poor Jordan. Welcome back, Baby J. Take your beatings.
Scattershot, hello. Same delay. YouTube keeps telling me to guard my privacy every time I join the stream. Does YouTube know something that I don't? Should I be worried about some people in chat? What? Our chat? No. Fine, upstanding citizens, one and all.
Wow. Who paid Jen off? Never talks about you guys like that.
I mean, when they're here, I do.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean,
Well, Tomato said you should absolutely be worried about me. So in Arizona, floor it as soon as the light turns green, or floor it so you can be the last car through the intersection right as the light turns red kind of place. Yes, both. Mostly the second one. So I don't do the first one because of the second one.
that rain?
Maybe.
Peak of the devil?
Sounds like it.
Sounds like it's raining. Yeah, Arizona is not good for driving, but neither is any well-populous place. I saw a video yesterday of somebody having to hit their brakes going up the on-ramp to get on the freeway because people were coming down the on-ramp because traffic was so bad on the 201 or 202 here. and
So
they
they
had
were
traffic backed up,
driving
and
the
people were
wrong
turning
way?
around and going down the on ramp while people were trying to go on. So it was like this stalemate. It was horrible.
When was that?
I don't know. I don't know when it was. The video I saw was
Oh, it was the
yesterday.
video. I thought you were saying it happened to you. I'm like, that's terrifying.
No, the video I saw was yesterday, but it didn't have a date on it.
We have it's weird. We were just talking about it on the ride to Flagstaff. That like it's so weird that we have such an issue with wrong way drivers. Like it's a big thing.
Here, the big problem in Central Phoenix is that when the light turns red, all the last people that didn't get to turn left turn left.
Oh yeah.
So
There's
it's not,
that.
I mean, you get people running the red light,
Yes.
but what
all
you
the
really
time.
got to watch out for is that the light is a solid red, and then people turn against the red to
Yeah.
make their left turns.
Because they've been waiting, because they do have that yield, so they're waiting on the yellow arrow, and then all the people they have to wait so long because they know that people are going to run the red light, and then they turn. So yeah, it's a mess. Driving in Phoenix,
Source, thank you for the sub.
possibly my least favorite thing to do.
Wad is definitely a fine, upstanding citizen.
Yeah.
Anybody that's met him would say the same thing if they were still alive.
Night Elf, being new to the area, still getting used to people merging 3 lanes immediately after getting off the on ramp. There's certain freeways that are really, really bad. Like the 51 gives you no time to merge. And then you have the transition ramp from the 10 to the 60 going east, which they've done a lot of work on that one, so that one might be better now. But it used to be that you had to get over 3 lanes at least in a really short period of time. I think being a pedestrian in Phoenix would be even scarier. I mean, yeah, it's not a very walkable city.
Hmm. Being a pedestrian in Phoenix would be scarier.
Okran, I'm talking about people who want to stay on the 10, which I do think that they have more time now, but that transition from if you were on the 10 or trying to get onto the 10 and stay on the 10 from like 48th Street, or like the 150 or 143, it used to be like you would loop around and it would immediately put you onto the 60 if you couldn't get over those. Safer walking in New York City than Phoenix? Sure, because they're used to people walking.
Let's just go with it. Isn't safe at all.
Yeah, it's just not safe anywhere for anyone to do anything. Just stay home, everyone. Vector said, I just realized heavy titanium white is perfect for dry brushing.
Yep. 100%.
2 major tollways merged together, 4 lanes each. The most popular exit after the merge is in a quarter mile. Oh, the crashes. And the thing that's probably an older freeway system. Ours is very new, and they just did a terrible job. Philip, I did, but you said that you were going to be here every day and have a cot. So what are we going to do now? This is your home. Self-driving cars, crazy rain people, you guys have convinced me to move. Survival of the fittest. Exactly. Source said a friend of mine visited Texas, went for an evening walk, as we do in the Nordics, got stopped by the police asking if everything was all right and if he needed a lift. Clearly, you're not from here. Do you need a ride? Are you lost?
Yeah, if you don't know where you're going, some people be like, "Are you from around these parts?"
Yeah. Well, like me, when I go to Germany, I looked on the map, and the hotel that I'll be staying at is about a 20-minute walk. So I'm like, cool, I'll just walk. I'm like, but I better ask if it's safe to walk because I don't know anything about this area.
Yeah, that's true too, right?
Yeah.
Need perspective.
Yeah.
It's a 20-minute walk through like the worst part of Germany. I don't know that there are super slums or anything, but
Sir Addie, German, and made the mistake to stop at a red traffic light in New York City. Stupid me. Walking in Houston, you're either a homeless person or you've escaped the insane asylum. Nothing within walking distance. X Axis, thank you for the sub.
unless you're in London or Paris, most places are safe.
Feels like the worst part of Germany would still be safer for pedestrians than all but like 5 American cities. People not just go for a run in Houston? Is that only done in gyms? That's a good question. People do walk and run and things like that around here. I think we're exaggerating a bit. Game Delay said, I realized I made 2 yellows too similar on a display piece with a Pokemon and trainer. I'm thinking about mixing in white blue with my bright yellow ochre to highlight one. Will I be making a green? See that?
Which one is it?
Right here.
Thinking about mixing in white blue with your bright yellow ochre to highlight one. Will you be making a green? I mean, mix it and see. Probably not immediately, right? White blue isn't that blue. It will lean the mixture green, but not noticeably right out of the gates. Not like sky blue or anything would. I think you're safe.
Mally A1049. Hello. Mally said, evening guys, dry brushing is an underused technique and all pro krill works great with it.
Never heard of him.
We don't know him. JP Gray said people run from the police. Get in shape, that is done in the AC.
What's going on, Mally?
Would wander randomly in Berlin without fear, London or Paris? Nope. I'll be in, well, wherever Spiel is, Essen. I feel like it'll probably be pretty safe. Paris is okay as long as you do not enter the suburbs. So the suburbs are less safe than like the city?
Well, you remember, not all towns are like Western state America, where the suburbs tend to, like in sprawl cities, the downtown area tends to become less uh, habitable as businesses and people move out, and so wealth tends to move outward. Whereas in big cities like Paris and
They live
things
in the
like that,
city.
wealth
Yeah,
congregates
that
in the
makes
center.
sense. JP going to Japan in November will wander with zero fear. Exactly. They send their children off at like age 3 to go run errands.
I'm going to think about what my next steps here are. I think I want some warm brown, maybe. Bicyclists are an odd breed.
Yeah.
We've had a rash of areas in Phoenix that have gotten bicycle lanes, like they've taken away car lanes to add bike lanes in some of the most congested central city areas, which I find to be a very odd choice. I feel like that is politically motivated and not actual use case motivated.
Papa Chicken, it's exactly the same here. Like, you do know that you're supposed to follow the same laws as cars, essentially, if you're riding a bicycle.
Bikes have to go the same direction and
as cars, they
follow the same rules. Stop signs, speed limits, all night.
And they don't.
And they don't. Around here, not always.
Game Delay is really perplexed by the genetics of this goat person, man, tree thing you're painting.
Perplexed by the genetics?
Yeah. How did it get this way?
That's the part that got you? Is the genetics?
Now, I will say, because Chuck, I know that you are like a serious bicyclist and you know, you ride frequently. Experienced riders like you, I am not talking about. It's the average bicyclist who doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Because there are definitely plenty of bicyclists that just ride it like when they were a kid on their BMX, not caring. And they do the same thing as adults. Ride against traffic. Switch over in the middle. Like going down the street and just cross over to the other curb.
If you see me on a bike, it's not me, because I'd never be on a bike. Foster. Well, that's good. Yeah, we had when we first moved into this building, the first several months, it was just all construction outside because they were adding bike lanes, protected bike lanes, or what do they call them? Protected bike lanes. They've got like not barricades, but like those floppy post things. Like if a car hits it, it'll push it, but it's meant to be a deterrent so that you don't go into the bike lane. And yeah, people don't know how to use it. People don't use it very often, but I always see people driving the wrong way. Quite frustrating. And there's no ticketing of anyone in this area.
No. Like I said, this wasn't a city initiative.
Yeah.
This was led by a small minority of people that decided that the street we're on here at our office didn't need to have 4 lanes. It only needed to have 2. And nobody rides their bike on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere useful is the problem. There's not like interconnected bike lanes other than the wash area, right? But that's just exercise. That wouldn't like take you to work. Although I know Brennan used to
Mm-hmm.
try to ride his bike down the canal
Mm-hmm.
to get to work.
The only country who takes bike lanes absolutely serious is the Netherlands.
What about the Netherlands?
They take their bike lanes seriously because they
Well,
are
yeah, but everybody knows how to
heavily.
respond. Like in Europe,
Yes,
bike
it's
lanes,
so much more common. Their
it,
bike
people are used to it,
parking
understand
lots
what's
are
going on.
insane. I remember I kept taking pictures when I was in Amsterdam. I was taking pictures of all the different bike parking lots and how packed they were.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that can't be true everywhere, but
Yeah.
you have to make it cohesive. You have to make it a travelable. I'm using caramel brown with a
Yeah.
warm brown on the horns. You have to, I get you have to start someplace, right? And if they're trying to start that here, they picked a really horrible
Yeah,
place
no,
and way to do it because
it's never
nobody
going to
in this
happen
area
here
of
because of
Central
the
Phoenix
climate.
looks to be riding their bike anywhere. There's a
Well,
couple of people that do down 3rd Street. They have motorized bikes,
yeah,
right?
that's what Brennan had. Flapjack said, I will, in general, always be in favor of anything that makes drivers have to pay more attention. Drivers have gotten absolutely insane the past few years. Yeah, because their cars allow them to not pay attention. My car beeps at me if I start to swerve into a different lane. My car beeps at me if the car in front of me has moved and I haven't. My car will stop for me if it thinks that I'm getting too close to someone.
That's the
I hate
worst.
all of it.
That's the worst in your car. I hate
Because
that.
I'm paying attention when I drive. I know not everyone does, but I do. And all of those things are really annoying to me.
Oh
I
my
hate that we
god.
have to have them because it just gives people the ability to not pay attention when they drive.
They have the commercials are built around that nowadays, right? Somebody like looking at their phone and the other idiot on their phone walks out in front of them, so it's like a collision of idiots, and the car saves the day.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, this is how you take care of that? Just pay attention. When you're driving, you're operating a freaking tool of mass destruction. Pay attention. Get where you're going in one piece.
Yeah, they all have touch screens and things to just, oh, it's terrifying. Moving to Alaska, too cold for self driving cars there, is it? This is why we'll never get flying cars.
You want an analog car with a stick shift? That'd be hard to bring back nowadays.
You can lose your driver's license if you break traffic laws on a bike. Like your car driver's license if you break traffic laws on a bike? Is it the same in the US? I don't think so. Because as we've determined, there aren't many bicyclists that are being held to the traffic laws.
At least not here.
Yeah,
It may
not
be
here.
written into the code that you can have points or
Yeah,
whatever.
there
I
may
don't know if
be
they do a
in
point
places
system
where
here.
stuff like that is more common, like New York or something. Lose your license if you ride a bike drunk. I do know that it's
You can get a DWI
you can get a DUI
if you're operating on the street.
yeah.
Seen that happen. Ustrello, what's going on? Happy Monday.
Hello. Saw someone sabotage a self-driving car with a ring of salt around the vehicle, like trapping a demon. No, not in Texas, JP. You do whatever you want there.
You have a general idea of when the rattle can primers are coming out? October.
Soon.
Sometime this next month. Yeah, we'll have the black, white, gray, and the matte varnish out all at the same time. Assuming nothing horribly, untoward goes wrong with the shipment. And that we have someplace to put it when it gets here.
Yeah, that
Our biggest problem is it might go right here behind me.
Well, Philip, we've determined, is moving in here, so his house is available.
That's why they just remodeled his house.
Yeah.
Give us more space to store spray paint. The problem with Phil is he'll type in here, he'll be like, that's fine, you can store it at my place, just don't be sad if I pay my rent by selling some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the salt thing's not true. They did show that it wasn't the Waymo, it was one of the other brands, and somebody came and painted solid yellow lines in a box around it, and it didn't know how to do anything. It couldn't run. Couldn't pass. That was in somewhere in California before they lost their ability to practice there and shipped them all to Arizona. Because God knows if California thinks you're doing it wrong, come to the Wild West of Arizona. We'll let you get away with anything here. Yeah, I'm not a fan of those automated cars. What could possibly go wrong with so many moving parts and electronics? It'll be fine. I'm sure they check it every day. Great. I'm going to go back to one of my warm grays. I feel like I used a warm gray on this before. I really need to reorganize my paints. I did a good thing. I actually bought a paint organizational thing. If it hasn't hit 5 people in the last hour, no need to check it. I think the funniest thing I've seen with regard to the automated cars is the people that were carrying around fake stop signs, right? And causing them to just stop. That does work. I think you can also go to jail for that, but I don't know.
Chuck said, so today's episode of Adventures in Machine Shops was straight out of the Twilight Zone. Had a customer send their quality engineer for a visit, and it was just slow fuse, but a woman.
Huh?
With the hair, clothes, glasses, tattoos, her voice, it sounded like Jason's.
I do have a twin sister. Was her name Melba?
Melba.
Good old Melba Craze.
Her name was Jamie. Jamie Craze. Jamie is pretty close to Jason. Resin Poisoning said, when I got divorced, a friend offered to store my very large miniature and paint collection, including vintage and rare pieces, fully painted armies, and thousands of dollars in supplies. Once I had resettled 90 days later, I discovered he had sold all of it.
What?
And you also discovered that you didn't really have a friend in him. That's terrible.
That's not a friend.
Yeah.
You probably don't need to be told that.
Yeah.
That's not how friendship works. I had a buddy who I thought was a good buddy, And when I left California, I put everything in storage, but I had some really, really amazing art pieces that I didn't want to go just in the storage containers. So I said, hey, I'm going to be coming back to pick stuff like this up. I know there was a couple of art pieces of mine that he really dug. And so I was like, hey, would you like to hold on to these for me until I can come pick them up? He's like, oh, yeah, that's great. I'll take great care of them. I didn't ever think anything about it. He was always a legit, upstanding guy. I told him specifically, I was like, hey, on certain ones of these, I don't want you displaying them, right? Because they don't have like the ability to hang very well. I hadn't finished the framing on them, things like that. He's like, no, they'll stay in the box. So they were all put together in boxes and done up really nice. And that guy took out a bunch of my stuff, and then there was a earthquake in his area that knocked a bunch of my really expensive stuff off his mantle and shattered it. Custom sculpture, stuff like that. And it wasn't that the accident had occurred, it was that he was just nonplussed. He's like, oh yeah, man, there was that earthquake that happened and all these got destroyed, man. No, I'm sorry. No, how much were they worth? I know you told me not to take them out of the box, yada, yada. I was like, why were they out of the box? Oh, I put them up on my mantle, man. I wanted to be able to enjoy them. I was like, you realize these were really expensive, right? Oh, yeah, that sucks.
There's a couple people who are very interested in hearing more about your paint organizational thing. Source said, does that mean you paid someone to organize your paint?
No, I bought like a paint organizer that was some guy on Etsy. Since we don't make them anymore, I was like, Pro Acrylic paint rack. And I needed something for the studio here that allows me to keep my paints more like how I use them. And because it's not a standard like work at home desk, right? We have to have it all here. It has to be underneath the camera level, has to be laid out in a way. And so I found a guy that made these big, long ones that hold like, I don't remember how much, 60, 64, 72 paints per rack. They're pretty big. So I feel like we'll be able to arrange them in the new facility. I probably can't use them here, but in the new facility, once we get moved, I'll be able to use those to make sure I've got better access to everything.
Are.
That's silly. Already time to move. That thing is, we really love this building and we bought it. And now I gotta get rid of it. Want to buy a building, chat?
Fitty? I could pay an exposure. Righteous Falcon Games said my local FLGS is going to get your paints, but is on a wait list. Any idea how long the wait list is? I'd love to be able to pick some up locally. Probably not super long if they're getting it from us directly.
Yeah. They're mowing through the wait list right now.
Yep.
So shouldn't be too long.
RS Blendon said when people paint their thumbs, what are they doing that for?
For me, I'm getting rid of a lot of the moisture on the brush. I use a dry palette, and so I want to be able to do two things. Check opacity and make sure I have the right amount of paint. I only paint with the moisture on my brush. So at any given time, you are looking at this is my palette. And so like right now, I'm working down here. My camera is not centered very well on this, but I'm working here. So I've got some caramel brown and warm brown, and I'm mixing those two together to get this highlight color for the horns that I'm making here, right? And so I don't have any wetness on the palette, so I just take my brush, get it wet, right? And depending on how thin I want the paint, I might just come over here with a full brush load of water, grab some warm brown, pull it down here into this, and let that make my color, right? Grab a little bit of the gray, right? And now I've got that. So I'll put it on my brush, but I don't want to go touch the model with that because that's a lot of paint, even on a small brush. I come over here and make sure that I can get the color where I want it, right? As far as like just very fine lines on my brush because I'm doing, finer detail lining here. That way when I come over to paint on the model, I don't have this big globule of paint that winds up, interfering with all of the areas and details on here. Can make it really, really hard to control if you just have a lot of wetness. So being able to get rid of that wetness, it also allows me to test opacity because I'll run it over the previous set of color that was there and I see it. Yes, it's opaque or whatever. So that's the main reason that you'll see people doing that.
What, Tomato? I laughed at that as soon as he turned that camera on. I love that Jason's solution to a dirty palette is just to put palette paper over it.
Yeah. That's my unclean palette. And here's my clean palette. And when I'm done with this side being dirty, I have this side. So I'm nothing if not super lazy when it comes to my palette.
You ever start a model, you're excited for it, about 90% of the way, you're kind of overpainting it? Yes. Run into that wall. First time. That's lucky that it's your first time.
Yeah, the heavy body blobs up top from when we were testing the heavy body paint. That's how long I've been using this palette.
I do the same brush loading technique, except I use water plus some medium. Is adding the medium over thinning the paint?
So I guess the question I would ask is, what is the medium for? Why are you using the medium? Answer that for me. Like, what's your reason for wanting to have the medium? Is it a specialized medium? Something? Is it like a matting varnish or something like that, or is it just acrylic medium?
Romeo G, hello.
Because there's no right or wrong answer. If the medium is doing something specific, like some people will add a little bit of gloss medium in or gloss varnish to put a little bit of shine to their paint, just acrylic medium, then yeah, I wouldn't see a reason for it. Just water is fine with acrylic water-based paints. The medium is typically like an acrylic, just a standard medium is to keep the paint at the same viscosity, but lower the opacity that way, right? So I can take, let's take some paint here. Let's get something that's dark enough to see what's going on. See some of the dark sea Ben we've been using. We may still have some. Nope. I used it all. Right. And I'll get some medium out here, except that Jordan stole it all. This guy, chat. Can't be trusted. Right? So I can get a little bit of medium, and I'll just, we'll put that here. Right. And this is just our glaze wash medium, so basically just an acrylic medium. It has some other stuff in it, matting agent and things like that, but for all intent and purpose, just an acrylic medium. Right? It's as thick as the paint, right? So if I were to want to just take the paint itself, right, and paint with the paint by itself, right, I get a level of opacity, right? No water on the brush other than just a hair of dampness to let the paint flow and to drop into the belly of the brush. You don't want to take a dry brush and dip it into wet paint because the paint will only stay on the tip of the brush and it won't paint the way you want it to. Show brush marks and all that. So I've wiped my brush about 6 or 7 times on the paper towel, so it just has a little bit of a sheen. It's a little wet, but there's no water in there that will go flicking around, right? So then if I take the medium, right, and a little bit of the paint and mix those two, I will have the same thickness. It won't be super thin and watery. It's still thick like paint because the medium is what reduced the opacity, but you can see immediately it reduces the opacity down, right? You take that, some medium, mix those together. No wetness on my brush other than, just a little bit of dampness, and you'll see how I've lowered the opacity tremendously, right? but it still doesn't like glom up. It's still not droplets. Like it's still, I have to deliberately paint it. It won't just come off the brush in dots, right? I have to use it like paint. So that's what medium is for. It allows us to control the opacity of the paint, but keep it feeling like paint. Now, if I do the same thing and I just take my brush load full of water now, and this you can see has wetness. I haven't wiped it on the paper towel at all, but I want to glaze with this, and then I'll come over here and add that, maybe pull a little tail of color. Whoop, I don't want that pink really. Right, pull that out. Now I've got water, like tons of wetness on here. It's at a much lower viscosity, right? And so it will give me just lots of little wet droplets all over the place, right? Not very controllable. That again goes back to why I do this. I take a lot of that off of the paintbrush, right? And now I can achieve the same kind of opacity as that previous layer with the medium, right? But now it's going to be a lot thinner feeling too. It's going to run into crevices and things. I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful with it because it's wetter, right? So the medium makes it feel like paint. Water makes it feel more like water and gets it thinner, but they both lower the opacity, right? And I'm using that term thinner because we have two types of thinning that we do in painting. One of them is to achieve lower opacity so you can see through the paint, right? And the other is to thin it so it runs more like water, like what we would do if we were creating a wash, right? We don't want it to be thick like the paint, so we want to thin it down so it flows a little bit better. So you're thinning for opacity and thinning for viscosity. Choose which you're doing it for, right? If you want the paint to feel like paint, then adding the medium to get the lower opacity is great. Works fine, right? If you're simply layering, right, and you don't really care about opacity, you're just putting one color of paint over another and maybe doing a little bit of light blending or feathering, then water on your brush is enough and you don't need any medium to do that, right? So it would be something where you're deliberately trying to lower the opacity to do a glaze, like what we did back here when we glazed the shadows over the backside of this, you know, so that the skin tones and everything show through. Then you use a medium or a heavier dilution of water to do. I just use water for everything, but do I throw the, yes, I throw the paper out. If the other side of the paper gets dirty too, I will throw the paper. I will use that palette paper until it is literally worse than my palette beneath it, though. I'm not trying to waste palette paper. All right. I think I'm okay with the horns for now. I'm not trying to finish them, but that gives me a good start. Gives me a little bit of volume to the horns back again. I want more orange in the wood, but I don't. I also want to get the wood separated out from him, the wood of his body and the wood of the tree and the wood of the staff. So I got to figure out how to pull those apart a little bit more. And I think I like the color of the wood on him, so I'm going to bring more of a deep orange in the form of burnt sienna onto the trunk. We'll do some burnt sienna here. Do some glazing. And you know what I'm going to do to make this easier so I can show people what's going on? I'm going to flip this over. I know. I'm crazy. I am going to actually wipe this paint off too. We used to randomly put these old palettes in people's orders.
Yeah.
If I had done it for a whole project.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last one we did was maybe the Guardian. The one with all the orange and blue.
It was one that you were able to peel off the glass palette, though.
I got that one over here. It was like the Crown of Doom. I don't remember where it went. Might have got thrown away when they cleaned it.
For sure have sent a piece of, like a chunk of paint from a glass palette.
Yeah. We've peeled it off and
yeah,
sent it in orders. Put it in a Ziploc bag. What's going on, Hairdo?
Hairdo.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know how to act.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to take a moment of silence.
Where do you even start?
You take a moment of silence.
Too much space.
And here is some burnt sienna. Rip palette, long live the palette. All right, so for glazing, again, I'm just going to start with a lot of water on the brush, right? I haven't wiped it on the paper towel at all. And what I do is I just touch the edge of the paint and bring that down into a little puddle down here. I don't jam a bunch of water into the puddle of paint. I always want to be able to have the paint to go back to at its basic form, right? Right out of the bottle. I know how opaque that is. I know what it'll do. So I just add water to it down here and get a glaze, right? So now I've got a glaze worked up and get most of the material off of my brush so that when I come and touch the model with it, it's not like super uber crazy pooling. And I can just kind of do these light passes of color. But the nice thing with Pro Acryl is that we have so much pigmentation that you can do it light like this and still get a good amount of coloration on these surfaces. So I'll get quite a bit of that orangey look going on that I want. But it'll be light enough that I won't show brush strokes unless I really mess up. Because I'm just looking to add in a little bit of natural coloring in here to alter the look of the wood on the base versus the look of the wood on him. So it's not like I have a specific place I have to put color. Just get to play with it. As you can see, I can get quite a bit of color out of the brush still, even when I took a bunch of it off on my thumb palette. Because this paint is so thin with all that water in it. Right? And now I've started shifting the hue of that away from the rest of the wood. Then I'll go load up my brush with more water. I know I've used up most of the paint here. There's beads of it that I could still use, but I've used up most of it. So I'll load it up with water again and pull another tail down here to use. Don't come after this paint with a full load of water every time. You'll continue to dilute it time after time, and eventually it won't have any color to it. So just be paying attention. Like I'll probably use that again without adding more water to it here in a second.
Hey, Captain Mannerings. Oh. Punisher said, "Looks like the palette cam is out." Is it? You mean like not working because it was empty?
Huh.
Because it looks like there's nothing on it. Game Delay has extended his thumb palette. For a minute, it was a clean white square. Didn't make any sense. Oh, Source, that's a good suggestion.
Source did what?
Well, Game Delay said, "I feel like I'm doing the thumb palette wrong. I keep wanting to see the color more clearly, so my palette spreads out all over my hand and arm." And Source said, "Get bigger thumbs."
Very easy.
Seems like a
Like
solution.
this is, come on. Simple solutions for simple problems. Just get bigger thumbs. Duh. Go to the doctor. Goes to the plastic surgeon. I would like thumb extensions. Thumb extensions? Yeah.
Or get more thumbs.
Or more thumbs. You could have more thumbs.
Yeah. Asks Viper, maybe? Asks to Viper? That had been lurking, have to run, thanks for the painting lessons. Awesome. Well, we hope that you can come back tomorrow. We'll be here at the same time.
Great to have you. This is what we do.
Yes.
Our whole goal, we have fun painting models, but the reality is to give you guys pointers, tips and tricks, things that might get you a little bit more confident to try something that you've been seeing other people do. You know, the great world of the internet will show you all sorts of cool techniques, and that you usually get them at the finish line, and you're like, oh, I wish I could make my models look like that. And there's really simple solutions, like I joked about just a second ago, but it's really true, right? There are simple techniques like this. This is just really, really thin down paint. And I'm no rhyme or reason. I mean, I'm trying to stay away from the brightest highlights on the wood, but even then, I don't really care, right? If I could have a particular way of saying it, I'm trying to put this glaze in between the shadows and the highlights. But it's going to turn out nice no matter what. And I can go back and redial in highlights if I need to. But you can see how that subtle orange makes his legs stand out just a little bit more. And sets me up with a more earthy tone on the trunk, as if it's already, you know, started to wilt back into the earth.
Game delay, you're not stupid. Sometimes the most obvious answer is the one that you just can't see. Game delay said, I put my mental effort off onto all of you, and my laziness is inexcusable. We're here to help.
Even in the shadowed area, you'll still get a little hint of that orange that'll pull it all together. Again, each time I'll go either get a little bit of water or dump the water off my brush and just keep pulling that tail out of this little second droplet that was from me wiping the nozzle of the paint bottle on there after I closed it up.
Bud said, I definitely appreciate you pulling the curtain back and revealing the tricks of the trade. I level up daily.
Yeah.
We also do it for the Kevin Bacon videos.
No mystique to this stuff. I didn't pay for the knowledge I have as a painter. I had to just pay attention. You guys are doing that. You're spending your hard-earned time live with us on the internet. We'll let you walk away with this with some cool tools.
Like the rug. It really pulls the room together.
The rug really pulls the room together.
If the guy with the literal law degree is stupid, the rest of us are pretty skunked. Fresh said, you've defiantly converted, or definitely. Either way, it works, and I like defiantly. You've converted to the dry palette. Gets me painting so much faster and learn to control the paint better. Thanks for the tutorials on that. Yep, that's what.
Great tool. Wet palettes can do wonders too, but the
palette.
dry palette will really get you painting better. The wet palette will create a situation if you don't really go into it knowing exactly what you're trying to do with the tool. It will create a bad situation, or has the opportunity to create a bad situation for you, because you won't understand why your paint behaves the way it does in other situations when you don't have a wet palette.
Oh, was that from a movie or something that I missed? Like
What's that?
The rug.
Pulls the room together?
The rug man. It really pulled the room together.
That's The Big Lebowski.
You're out of your element, Donnie.
The dude. It's a dude.
He really said, see, why did I think my thumb was my only option? Why did I think I needed to paint with clothes on? So much skin I could use. Exactly. Hughes won his skill through a battle against the devil in Georgia. Passion. Love. Paint naked. Add some color to your cheeks.
Going on, Light and Passion. Nova Orange added to the paint range. Yeah. Yeah, for the foreseeable future. We plan to keep Nova Orange as part of the range. It's different than like the normal signature ranges because it doesn't have like a formality behind it. We did it for fun for the show, and we love those guys and gals, and so it's kind of like we got to figure out after the fact, like, hey, do we want to keep selling this? We always said that it didn't really like us to release a color and then not have it available to you. We hate that idea. If you really like it, it's a great color. I've been using it a lot on the skin on this guy. It's a fantastic flesh tone. You can see just that little bit of burnt sienna makes a big difference on that trunk. Wizard's butt. Okay, except for Wizard's butt. Game delay, it already happened. Paint liquor beat you to it.
So, but we haven't really released that color.
Yeah, it hasn't been a release. We just happened to give it away to some just random
people.
lucky people on the internet. I mean, I have 2 bottles. I don't know what your guys' problem is.
I have one of each. Yeah, I have those. With upside down labels.
She's got the super rare.
Yeah.
Because you know how super rare it is to get upside down labels nowadays? Somebody has to like you more and make them custom for you.
They made me, did I tell you guys?
The whole set.
They made me the entire range over the course of who knows how many weeks. They've been secretly putting upside down labels on every color.
That was her birthday gift.
One bottle of every color that they've run for the past several weeks. And they handed it to me one day as I was walking.
That was her birthday gift, was all upside down labels in the new bottles.
Yeah. I don't think that they knew that it was my birthday. I don't think that was the intention. Yeah.
No, they just did it.
They didn't know it was my birthday.
I think that when your birthday came, it was incentive to finish it up.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tomorrow it will be on eBay as ultra rare. A full set of upside down label Pro Krill.
Yeah. Those people are lucky and should be envied by everyone. Yeah, I need to get I wanted to get one of those, or I need more than one, probably. Those acrylic stands that you guys use at the shows.
Yeah, the nail polish ones?
Yeah, I want to get those and just have them up in my office.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I nearly just bought those for the studio, but they don't let you see the label behind them. They're great for when people are at the shows, but when you're wanting to look at them real quick and show them off, and I want to, when we get the new studio set up, be able to show the colors coming in and out of the rack. So, what's left to do, Papa Chicken? I'm at that point where the investment is you either turn it up to 11 or we work to call him quits here pretty soon. And I really like the model, so I don't know. I'm in that in-between state where I'm not sure what the correct answer should be.
Are his eyes white? Or is that a speck of white in his eye?
His eyes right now are khaki.
Okay.
Right? Goat eyes are really weird. They have that weird horizontal, like, double pupil looking shape. Do the Bee Warriors? Yeah, I want to do some of the Bee Warriors, but we got other stuff we want to paint before then. I got to finish up. Jen. She's got a lot of work to do on the smoke trail and her. I was gonna say her hair, but her mask, I guess. But we got to do all of the smoke trail stuff still. This is literally just the glaze and the purple dry brush, right? So we still have a lot of work to do on all that. I need to get her done. Still got some work to do on the gold non-metallic metal. Not too much, but a little bit.
Jason, how's your golden demon going?
Yeah, that's not happening. I'm
Too
not
smid.
supporting those people.
Thought you were friends. Donald Kelly said, "What's the state of true metallic metals these days? We have them.
True
I,
metallic metals
I've been
these days. You've
using the
been using the dregs
dregs.
of your Vallejo, but we'll need to resupply soon. I mean, we have
We
metallics.
have
We have a really good set of
11.
9, and
Well, we have a set
then
of 9 and then two more.
two additional ones in the signature set.
Mm-hmm.
So 11 total metallics that are fantastic.
Never been the kind of person, game delay, who craved rare or exclusive things, so why am I now so jealous of Jet's Pro collection?
I mean, it's pretty cool. She's got a cool protocol collection.
Which Pokemon is that? Ever seen him before? No Pokemon. I believe it's still just a golden frame. It is indeed. I can see it from here. Leaning up against the wall.
Yeah, I got some more models too. So, because I was like, the ambition of doing the diorama, probably too big once we started talking about moving the building. I was like, I just don't think that's a possibility for me. Doesn't mean it's 100% off the table, but I was like, yeah, if I'm gonna do something, then I probably want to refocus into maybe a smaller squad or something like that. So I have other options.
Partner actually likes the Pro Chrometallics. Tried out 6 different brands before finding them. Well, I'm glad that she finally made her way. How far is new HQ going to be from old HQ? Like 2 miles at the most.
Yeah, it's not very far.
I think it might be 1.5 miles.
It's more than a mile.
Oh, yeah. Because 20. Okay, yeah. So it's like 2.5 miles. Yeah. It's closer to our house. Not officially. We've found it. It's not officially ours yet, but we have located it. Working on figuring out how to make it. Because it's just a big empty warehouse, big open space. And do a little bit of a construction, get it to be usable. But hopefully pretty soon we'll be over there.
They're working with the owner. We're leasing the new building, selling this one because we own this building. We'll be leasing the new one, and they're working with the owner right now to get the contracting numbers together because they've got to redo the bath. Well, not redo. They have to build more bathrooms. It only has 2. It has 1 men's room, 1 women's room, and we have like nearly 4 times that here at our current building.
Bicycling distance right there. It is on a very, very, very busy road. Oh, it is. It's still, I mean, it's still very close. Hotel near our current location, I'm guessing might be the Clarendon?
What's that?
Chuck said that their cycling trip to Arizona had a pretty nice looking spa hotel near old HQ, meaning this building. Here's to hoping it's still central. And I said that, yes, it is. It's still very close. And I was just guessing which hotel he was talking about. That was the place. Yes, that is very close to us right now. I drive by it every day on my way home.
This Pokemon is Greeper the Goat Reaper. Yes, Greeper. That'd be so great. Yeah, I'm not real sure what he is because the horns are not right for goat, right? The goat's horns would turn back in on themselves, but that wouldn't have fit the sculpt. So this is artist license. Goatish. I mean, goats also don't have hands or such good workout abs. You don't think you could do a commute again? Your new place, just look out the window and see bunnies and squirrels. The new office is actually, I think, closer to Jen and I's house.
It is. Yeah.
So there's that.
Avian, hello. Shore Golden, hello. It says, Shore Golden said, I've only really gotten more into miniature painting this past year. Used to do it just to have some color on the minis. Now I've gone full steam ahead with painting and got the basic Pro Acryl set. Never going back to anything else. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
The idea of a massage after a 100-mile bike ride in the desert sounds amazing. I agree. I've been to the Clarendon just to they have a really cool rooftop area. I went to a birthday party there. That's the only thing I really know about it, other than I drive by it every day. Goats don't have hands. No, we don't officially have a new place yet. We have located it, but we have not finalized any details. It sounds like it'll be farther away for Jordan, though. Going to make his daily tequila walk home more difficult. The other day, he parked so far down.
He might as well have stayed home.
He might as well have just walked to work. Like, it would have been about the same distance.
He's so funny. His daily tequila walk home difficult. Yeah, he gets drunk on the way to work. Cantina full of tequila.
Yeah, we've got fingers crossed here too. I hope it all comes together the way we hope. Panic Bomb said, all I know is llamas eat hands. I don't understand. That way we don't have Baby J today, still walking in. He took a couple days off. We gave him some vacation days. So he actually when we have people who go to shows, like he just went to Nova for that weekend time, we swap him. So he worked 2 weekend days, so he gets to swap for 2 days off. Oh, llamas eat hands is a reference that I'm again not getting.
Yeah, they choose if they want to get paid for the time at the show or take the days off. They always take the days off.
No, only hourly people can get paid.
They always take the days off. Greedy bastards. Days off.
We don't get days off. Jason took a day off not too long ago.
I did.
Crazy.
Like a real took a day off.
Yeah, real day off.
I didn't do anything.
Nope. What does Baby J do without us? I don't know.
Hangs out at home. I guarantee he's playing video games or he's out playing cards at some card shop.
Yeah.
That's what Baby J's do.
Yeah.
They play video games and card games, and that's it. Oh, and shop at
Yeah, at the
Super
H-Mart.
H?
Yeah.
Try to kill themselves, saying they're a chef. No video games? Oh, I played video games when I took mine. H Mart, that's not Super H. H Mart, Super H. Maybe that's why he got sick. He went to Super H. All the Baby J's do the same thing.
Yeah.
However many there are, I guarantee you they all do the same thing.
We only have the one.
Yeah, I took the day off, not intently to play Diablo 4, but I was going to play some Diablo 4, and on my day off, Diablo 4 servers went down and I couldn't play. So I flew my digital spaceships around. That's what I did. I want
Multi-universe Baby J's? Or multiple Baby J's in our universe?
the answer could be yes.
That makes you a pixel pilot. Punisher said I tried playing some Star Trucker and racked up some massive space debt. If I turn the game back on, they're going to repo my truck, so I guess I'm done with that one.
You racked up space debt as a truck? I thought you were supposed to be earning money. Isn't that the whole point of that game? How'd you mess that up?
Spencer Reed just put in an order for some paints. Said super excited to try out the fabled Bold Titanium White. It's a good one.
Just use some. Don't use a lot of white. Just use some white. Glazing some advanced flesh tone back over those shadows that I put on there, just to smooth those out just a hair.
Said, well, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Oh, so you did get the memo. You just... Did you have a run-in with, like, the big bads? Did you get fined? Or did you keep buying bigger and bigger trucks before you got your pay? I haven't played that game. I've seen people talking about it, but I've not played it. It doesn't sound up my alley. I like combat, so...
It is a gateway drug. James Mathias loved the transparency tutorial video. Would love to see longer focused tutorials going deeper into application and broader on uses. It's inspiring and encourages me to experiment. Awesome. Yes, they definitely have plans for lots more video content. They do take time. Captain Mannerings, did you say that? Are you saying that you got a Hobby Nerd shirt and you wore it to Warhammer World? That's WHW, right?
I guess so, yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice. There was a picture of Warhammer World in Nottingham. There was a picture of a bunch of people there for some tournament that they did, and there were two prominent people wearing. One of them had a Hobby Nerd shirt, the other one had the Nerd Shit shirt, and they were both
That's
like
awesome.
right out in the shot. I thought that was awesome.
Don't know. I don't think Bold Titanium White is quite the same since it's no longer mixed in a bucket by hand. Well, so here's the thing: it was never mixed in a bucket. It was like a Small cup.
It was mixed in like a big bottle. Never in a bucket. It was in a big bottle. I would sit there and shake that damn bottle. I
remember shaking it. Yeah.
We didn't have, like a proper agitating device. It was as handmade as you could make like paint handmade. It was crazy.
Handmade.
Trust me, it's the same good stuff now. Maintenance bits are way too frequent and something you have to keep up on. They can cascade out of control if you're... What are we talking about? Oh, the truck. Okay, gotcha. Passed out in your truck twice? Wait. Passed out like your video game avatar passed out, or you fell asleep playing this game? I'm having a hard time here. Take it easy, Charles.
You tell everyone that we made it in a bucket? Nope. Smaller.
I'd probably say bucket. Batches. Yeah. James, thank you. Yeah, we have tons of content. I mean, we've been making content for years, obviously. We have more hours in front of the camera painting than probably anybody on the planet. But at the end of the day, we're not as good at the production of YouTube videos as we are at doing this live thing, because this is where Jen and I have always put our time. Editing takes a tremendous amount of time to do and do well. So I have much respect for all those people that do edited video, because you could shoot the video in an hour and then you'll take 40 to edit it, right? And we just don't have the ability internally to do that much. Now, Christopher and Gabe and the team, they do a good job of editing stuff quickly. And we've committed to doing, at least one long form video a month for the time being to get really good stuff out. I'm doing the next one. The next one's just a simple pro acryl overview. Like, we did how to transparent. We'll do how to pro acryl. I talked about everything from the how to operate the bottle correctly so that you don't have problems with the bottle, to what makes our paint special, how to use it, all the stuff that I talked about today with using the wet brush and glazing and all that stuff. I'll talk about how our paint was formulated to be something different. It wasn't meant to be the same as all the other brands you already have access to. There wouldn't be a purpose in that. So it'll be kind of a good introductory video that we've never done. We talk about it on stream, and we've done that for years, but we've never really done it in a way that's mass consumable by people who are just finding our brand for the first time. Years ago, we grew out of the fact that most of the people that knew who we were found us on the stream, right? Because that was our persona. And now for the last 3 or 4 years, it's been people finding it in their local hobby store. And they're like, we didn't know you streamed. So we have to get with the times. Imagine Slowfuse doing a paint ad as Jesse Duke on a porch with a moonshine bottle. I mean, that could happen. Your dude passed out because the oxygen depleted. This sounds like not my kind of game. That sounds like work. Like, that's way too much like work. Not even a little bit interested in games that make me have to go that hard in the paint.
For folks who don't get the reference, ask your parents for Slowfuse. Can you explain the reference? My parents are not easily accessible right now. Can you explain that to me? I don't get it.
You don't know the Dukes?
Oh.
Bo and Luke Duke?
Oh, Uncle Jesse.
Uncle
Jesse Duke threw me because it's Uncle Jesse, right?
Uncle Jesse.
Didn't they call him Uncle? It was the uncle, right? The white-haired.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I loved him.
I do know. And Daisy.
I do know the Dukes. Yes, that was a good enough hint. Thank you, Avian.
Some of the basics are really helpful, are useful. We often pick up bad habits, so good to refresh and make sure you get the basics right. Yep. Well, and I still have, it was funny at Nova. It really drove it home. At Nova, I sat and had breakfast with a couple of painters that are well-known, very good painters, top of the game. And one of them asked me why he was having problems with my paint doing a certain thing. And I said, oh, Well, because you're treating it like you treated your old brands of paint.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, why wouldn't I? And I was like, why would I make your old brands of paint? You already had those.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, oh, so what's different? And I said, what do you feel like is different? He told me, and I go, exactly. And he goes, why don't you have a video that tells people that? Because if I'd have seen that video, that would have been very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And I expect that people want to learn their tools, and they do, but some people don't learn just by the act of doing. They just go straight into doing exactly this very, well-regarded painter who paints a ton. And he just went right into his habits, So even people that aren't new, like you say, right? You get you pick up, and I don't even know that the habits are bad. The habits are just what you're using with the current product, And it's like I tell this story all the time. When I was young, we had a toaster that the coils were burned out on one side of the toaster, and so whenever you would make toast in our house, you'd put the toast in, and when it popped up, the back side, just the way it was sat and the way you could get to the lever. When it popped up, the side that got toasted was on the back, and the front side didn't. It got warm, but it was still pretty white because the coils were burned out on half of it. And so and this was years, and you take the toast out, and I'd always flip it over. And nowadays, if you watch me pull toast out of the toaster, I still do it even though both sides are toasted. I always toast the side that's away from me. Doesn't matter the orientation of the toaster, but if you were to ask me why and catch me when I wasn't talking like this, I'd be like, I have no idea. Well, I do it because isn't that the way you're supposed to toast your toast? And it's like, no, my toaster toasts on both sides. You don't have to do that, idiot. And I'm like, oh, well, gosh, you just get so used to it. And so, yeah, so we're going to do some stuff that's really just starting at the basics so that people can understand why we decided to make a paint line that is not like everybody else's paint. It's not made in the same factory as everybody else's paint. It's not made in the same manner that everybody else's paint is made out of. There's all sorts of paint in our industry, and they're all made at like one of 3 factories. And all of those factories make paint exactly the same. So you can pick your colors, and you can pick a little bit of the medium that you use, but they have like 2 types of resin you can choose from, so there's not a lot of choice. And then they sell you on the colors, right? Which is great. You have a whole world of colors, but all those paints operate very similarly to one another. And we started off with that not being the case with Prochrome. We wanted to make a different kind of paint. We wanted to make a fine art paint for painting miniatures. And that's what we did. But in order to do that, you have to treat it differently from the beginning. The way you formulate it, the way that you suspend pigment into a water-based suspension is totally different than if you're just making, coatings, house paint. I always do the air quotes house paint because that's what everybody else, all the other companies that make paint in our industry are house paint companies, basically. So. For the new folks and for the smooth brains, well, I'm one of them. I need to constantly be reminded, why is it I do these things? Why do I butter only the backside of the bread? We don't have a toaster, I don't think, do we? I mean, we probably do.
We do. I got one.
I never use a toaster anymore. I'm going to use warm gray on the dirt. Dirt and rocks. Rocks and dirt. But there can be aha moments. We've said it for years. I mean, we've been doing this stream now 8 years and running, and we say it all the time that the reality is that you could have heard the same thing 50 times, but it took the 50th time to really have it click. What was it about that 50th time that made it click? Who knows, right? Could have been the person that was telling it to you. Could have been the mannerisms they were using. Could have been the fact that you ate a better breakfast that morning. Who knows? Jen was a teacher for, 16 years? And I'm sure you could attest to this. You would tell somebody or the class the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Yep. And when did they get it? It was probably different for every class.
Yeah. Captain Mannerings, thanks for hanging out. See you next time.
Snooze time! Take it easy.
I could go for snooze time, too.
What I joke about all the time is taking naps.
Yeah.
You know what I've done lately?
Taking naps?
I've taken some naps.
Yeah. I took a nap yesterday.
Taking some naps. The dog has actually started to, in certain occasions, play nice and take naps with Dad. Like, she will lay there. Usually if I lay down with her on the couch or try to lay down with her or on the big beanbag chair that is her domain, if I try to lay down with her, she gets all skittish. She's like, it's time to play. Dad's playing with me. because we roughhouse a lot. And so I think she just thinks it's that time. So she goes into full energy mode. Mom, I'm always jealous because mom gets to lay there with the dog all the time. Dog's just nice and lazy, lays with mom, not dad. Well, the last couple of days, she's given me the opportunity to actually like lay and like fall asleep. And she's snoring.
The last 2 weekends, yeah, last weekend.
I have to do it in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
It can't just be at some, it has to be at her nap time. So I say she's making accommodations for me, but it's not really. I'm doing it for her. It's a win-win. Then mom comes home and gets mad at us because nobody meets her at the door because we're asleep. Taking a nap.
Very rude.
Did you say very rude?
Yeah.
She came in, what was that, yesterday? No, it was Saturday. Saturday, and Cora and I were taking a nap.
Yeah.
She comes in and she's like, I don't like this one bit. She goes, there is nobody to welcome me home.
Oh. Because Cora and I have a really nice little daily ritual when I get home. That is that she is sitting on the couch waiting for me, and I come around the into the living room area, and I look at her and I say hello, and she's just sitting up on the couch, and then she'll like put her head down, and I go over and I like.
And her tail's beaten.
Dum, 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 dum. And then gives me little kisses from thanks for coming home, Mom. And then we do that for a couple minutes, and then it's time to go outside.
And I went and ruined it. Ha, ha, ha.
Came home Saturday, and I didn't even think you guys were there because it was so quiet. Like, they must be outside.
She had just been snoring not 2 seconds earlier, but she heard you pull up.
Yeah.
But it was funny because normally she will she'll raise her head up and then immediately jump up as she knows, and her brain wraps around the fact that mom's home. And she didn't. She just put her head back down. Kind of just sloppily putting this gray over the top of whatever the hell this is. Warm brown, maybe? I don't remember what I put on the base. Feels like warm brown.
Avi and I taught middle school, so not really English lit. My honors class would read some classics, like we read Romeo and Juliet every year, and then they had some options they could read. Again, all classics, and it was district mandated list, so they didn't have a lot of freedom.
Catcher in the Rye?
No, I think that one might have been. Oh, maybe that one's not. To Kill a Mockingbird was freshman. I taught 8th grade, but we had Romeo and Juliet, Great Expectations, Treasure Island, and one other boring book I don't remember.
Death of a Salesman?
Nope. And then we would read Night, a Holocaust memoir, every year, which is always sad. No Catcher in the Rye for middle school. No. I don't even think it was on the high school list, but I don't remember.
Slaughterhouse-Five? Animal Farm? Anything good? 1984?
I don't think they read any of those. I don't know. Again, I'm not super familiar with the high school books that they read. I read 1984 and Animal Farm in high school. Flowers for Algernon, they read. Yep, that was the 7th grade.
I remember that book.
Outsiders, we read as 8th grade, not honors, just my regular class, and that was one of my all-time favorites. I love that one.
She gave me that book when we first started dating.
Outsiders?
Yep.
Did you ever read it?
I mean, I had read it before. It's still in our library.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that Slaughterhouse. If Slaughterhouse 5 may have been like an AP book, I don't know. Most Dangerous Game we read.
Slaughterhouse Five, I think, was one of those viewers' choice books for me. I think there was a list. I read a bunch of books. Any chance I had to read one of the books it was on, because the way our honors and AP English classes, believe it or not, I was in Smart class. They gave you the book that was the curriculum book, and they said if you don't want to read this or have already read it, here are these other list of books, and it was like a short list of 4 or 5 books that were kind of on theme with the main book. And so I read them any chance I could because they were generally books I hadn't read, and I was just trying to be punk rock and not do at what everybody else did. But there was like the Life and Times of Ivan Denisovich or something like that. Was, I think, at around the same time of Death of a Salesman, very similar book. And then Slaughterhouse Five was one of them.
That's still in our library is an awesome phrase for saying you have a book, and I will be using that. Cask of Amontillado, I think, was maybe 7th grade honors. It was not one that I taught. We did not read The Jungle, for sure. But I read that in high school. Watched the Leonardo DiCaprio version of Romeo and Juliet in English class. Because the beginning was so wildly over the top, I rented it from Blockbuster on the way home, was disappointed at how chill the rest was. That was one of my favorite ways to help kids understand Romeo and Juliet.
I think kids with an overactive imagination got into AP English. Is that what it was? I thought I was smart. That told me I was smart. But are you saying 8th grade they had you read The Jungle? The Jungle, the food one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal.
I know. That's why I said we definitely didn't read that. But
that's like
I
scared. That's like
school.
Scared Straight.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I read it as part of history, though, not as part of my English class.
A Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. Yeah. So it is a real book. It's funny, I just remember that off the top of my head. I enjoyed it, but I remember it being a hard slog. Rat King, I don't know. Should I know this?
I don't know that one. Yeah, the district that I worked in was fairly conservative. So they had some of the books that I had options to teach as to my 8th graders was they felt a little immature to me.
They felt a little what?
Immature.
Oh.
But we read every year. We would read The Outsiders and The Giver for sure in my regular English classes, and then
The Outsiders was a great book because it had maturity in the form that they could recognize.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was very chest blustery in that find your...
Well, and the book is just much deeper than the movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And occasionally I would teach a book called Touching Spirit Bearer, which was really good. It was about a kid who got in a bunch of trouble, and he, as a consequence, had the option to go do this like survival thing in Alaska, and he encounters a bear. And
oh, you said Touching Spirit Bear?
yeah.
Okay.
King Rat, a World War II concentration camp story. Anybody read Tess of the D'Urbervilles in high school? I read that in high school. Passed that unit writing an essay about how much I hated it. To read it again. Senior year of college, got an A writing how much I hated it.
The only World War II book, or that was notably World War II that we got to read was Girl in the Attic. What was it called?
Diary of Anne Frank.
Huh?
The Diary of Anne Frank.
Anne Frank, yeah.
The actual diary is a tough read. Oh, big raid. Intraventus. Hello.
Intraventus, what's going on, girl?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for the raid. Welcome in.
Welcome, nerds.
Is Chair Guy okay? Did you guys remember to feed him? Chair Guy is good. He doesn't come in and send the chairs anymore.
Too busy.
He's really busy.
think everybody wishes they had time to come sit in the chairs anymore. Been
Everyone
playing
said
Space
that
Marine
you've
2.
been
I
playing
got
Space
it.
Marine 2.
I got it. I'm one of those oddballs that doesn't like games on rails. It's fun, and it really puts me there, and they've done a great job with it, so I don't have a lot of bad things to say about it. I just don't like games that force me in very linear story arcs to do A, then do B, then do C. Bums me out. But I'm going to go back to it and try to have some fun. Hope you're enjoying it, though. The visuals are great. It is very grimdark, which is awesome. I'm painting Goatman.
PvP is where it's at.
I've heard this. I have not tried that yet. So, the kind of capture the point system that they've got is there. I kind of don't... The combat's real slow and clunky, right? So I guess PvP would be better because you're probably shooting most of the time unless you play Assault, right? That'd be good. Hellfire, thanks.
Decimus?
Avian sandbox games. I don't know. I don't know what that term means. I hate Skyrim. Okay, so you can't talk to me about video games because what you'll learn very quickly is I'm not the guy they make video games for. That's it. End of story. They don't make video games for a guy like me. I think to keep us a little bit on the warm side, I'm going to go with bright warm gray. It has kind of a putty color to it rather than bright neutral gray. So we'll do some dry brushing on the rocks before I do a wash. A wash. We're using all the simple techniques on the base.
Or that is dark white.
Yes, I agree. But if you were to make a color called dark white, people would be like, huh? What? I say what?
Introventus, thank you so much for the raid. Enjoy your spaghetti.
Spaghetti? Wait a minute. That's not fair.
That's what I say to Ruben every Thursday when he leaves.
I want spaghetti. Did you bring it up for the whole class? Thank you for the raid, girl. Hope you're doing well.
Let's make a dark white. We do. It's called bright neutral gray. Just noticed Jason using a clean palette. That happened during this stream.
Yeah.
And really, on the other side of it is all the paint.
Hey, shush. You don't gotta out me like that.
What we saw Tech Elf was Jason turned on the palette cam. It was very full. And as he started working on the palette, we could tell that it was paper. And then we noticed that the paper moved just a little bit, and it was on top of his glass palette that was also covered in paint. And so then he flipped it over to make it look new. So there's that.
That's the one I haven't cleaned in like a year. And then I was painting on this side of the paper. Now we're on this side of the paper. Why you gotta call me out like that? I've been nice today.
Hellfire said what we really need is some electric salmon.
Eclectic salmon.
We don't know anything about electric salmon.
I already teased everybody with that. I think that's the last thing we did on Friday, right? I teased everybody with eclectic salmon. Somebody else was asking, when are we going to get it?
Yeah, Thursday. We weren't here Friday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were gone Friday. We abandoned our people. Mm-hmm. I would like a week with no meetings. Can you make that happen for me, chat?
Not this week. Not next week.
No. My whole life is meetings until I get back.
It's just even thinking about it, a quick think, it's not possible. The palette makes you realize that Slowfuse is a real human. I can see that. Extra meetings for you, maybe, Hellfire, but not for Jade. Or extra meetings for Roger.
Need an extra helping of meetings this week?
Roger is going to be invited to every meeting from now on.
Who?
Said extra meetings? Roger.
Roger.
I said the extra meetings are for Roger?
We're inviting him to do all the work?
Meetings are required because of logistics. Well, I mean, he owns a hobby company. And there are a lot of people who will want to talk about things. In order to talk about them, sometimes we have to schedule it.
It is.
Because we tend to forget things if we're not scheduled in a meeting, and we just
Oh,
talk about
God.
things in passing.
My life would be so much worse without a calendar.
Yeah.
Holy heck. I used to could remember everything I was supposed to do. That's time is long gone.
Oh, Paint Liquor said, I can make a week with no meetings if you'll let me sit in your stead. I'll rep you well, Fuse. That's the story about the woman who comes back from maternity leave and she just opens her inbox, clicks select all, and deletes them. She's like, I've been gone a long time. This stuff is probably taken care of already.
They'll get back to me if it was important. I couldn't do that. I would freaking lose my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I have to go through all of them.
General labor only meetings I get is when I have to fix someone's mess or meet the new...
Eclectic salmon is this color.
Meet the new minion I have to train, yeah.
That's a custom-made color that's coming soon.
When meetings don't happen, I worry that the company has issues. Exactly. We have to have at least one a week.
Tech Elf says meetings will be the death of you. You know, the thing is like last week it was funny because in one of our meetings, Gabe came forward and said, what's one of the biggest things we need to focus on at Monument Hobbies? And Gabe came forward and said, getting Jason out of meetings. And it was funny because I was like, actually, the meetings I've been having lately are really cool. But they do take up a lot of time. And unfortunately, they're all with different people. And so they all come at different times. And, it's meetings. No different than anybody else's meetings.
And there's some of them that Jason is really the only person who can be there.
Yeah, unfortunately. Business dev stuff and product creation stuff, those are tough. We have a lot of those going on. A lot of big news coming.
Huh? Oh, a lot of good news coming.
A lot of big news coming.
Tishman said that you need something like a plastic lunch tray to soak the palette in. Nice and shallow, slap the palette in, paint side down with your Fabuloso, and a quick scrape in the morning.
Well, I mean, we have all that. It's just
not in here.
Yeah. It's not happening. Don't think we don't know how to do it. It's the doing it part that becomes very tough.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Meetings definitely lead to other meetings. We have a weekly meeting that's super important, and during that meeting, we always end up scheduling other meetings.
Oh, God.
Or at least saying, we need to schedule this other meeting.
Yeah. Meetings about meetings.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get together to discuss the meeting next week. Wait a minute. That happens.
We do that.
More than we like to admit. And it's funny because I think as a company that is really founded on keeping things fairly simple, right? We just like to have fun and make cool stuff and inspire people to be creative. And yet you still have the business you have to run. And in the running of the business is where all those meetings have to happen. It's like the talking about the somebody said logistics. You got to sit down and talk about the logistics of the logistics department. Submit your Form 304s. The glass palette has character right now. Yes, it does. Lots of it. It's a good thing you can't turn the glass palette over because I would have already done that. You've literally had planning meetings for your planning meeting? Oh, my God. Yeah. That happens at about this next month is all the planning meetings for 2025 start. And then we have to meet about the planning meeting.
I mean, Friday was kind of a planning meeting.
Yeah, quarterly. Got to keep the lights on. Got to do the business things. Yep. None of us know what we're doing, but we try. We try hard. Start buying new glass palettes once you've filled up yours, a true status symbol. I'm telling you, you need to, it's called art because you do the palette and then you hang it on the wall, right?
That's what Tech Elf just said. Slap a frame on the glass and sell it as art. But we've given it away. We were talking about that earlier.
See?
We've given away the paper palettes. We've given away the big chunk of paint that comes off the glass palette.
Yep. I'm doing a what do we call these when you mix all the drinks together?
Suicide?
A what?
Suicide.
Suicide. I'm making a suicide. I'm putting all the wash in the same wash.
Speaking of product creation, have you ever thought about selling a travel case for minis that has a clear panel on two sides so customs doesn't rummage through my stuff and break my toys?
I wish.
I mean, we're not. The miniatures stuff is less focus.
The
Jungle Juice.
the stuff from Table War I thought was pretty good, but again, it just has the glass on the one side, right? Which is a shame. I get what you're saying.
Jungle Juice is Everclear and Fruit Punch in a trash can.
We'll
What
do
he's
a
talking
little
about
splash
is
of
when you go to the like the gas station and you get a cup and you just hit all the
Yeah, you put one of everything.
all the things.
You've never done this? Jungle Juice? Yeah. You've never done this?
Jungle Juice is the party drink.
Yeah. No,
That's
it's like you would go and grab a cup at like Circle K or 7-Eleven when I was growing up, and they had like maybe 6 different sodas or whatever was there. That was the thing.
Well, see now, I mean,
Now it'd be crazy. You're taking your life
QT.
in your own hand.
you got 50 different options.
But you would basically go in with your cup and you just hit every single one of the taps and drink whatever you got. That was the story.
And your big gulp cup for what, like 59 cents or something?
Oh my god, big gulps were like 50 cents.
A slushy for good measure, exactly. Thought Jungle Juice was when you go around after a party and pour all the half drinks into one jug. I don't know. We called Jungle Juice back in my day was you got a big trash can, you got a big bottle of Everclear, you dumped in the whole bottle of Everclear and like 2 jugs of fruit punch.
Oh,
Terrible.
brutal. Yeah, trash can punch.
I don't think the new Coke machines would make that possible, right? Because you have to, like, they're all digital.
The digital ones, like at the movies,
Yeah.
where you can add like a flavor into it, but you can't say I want all the things in one cup. No, you still got to go to like QT or
Yeah.
7-Eleven or Circle K, someplace that still has the old fountain style drink. I'm just mixing all the colors. Slap it on. Best wash, suicide wash. That'll be perfect. Perfect. Sorry, I was in the zone. I was in the zone. The jungle juice wash zone. Yeah. That sounds horrible. That sounds horrible. Jen gets up and leaves to check all the doors. And I'm staring at my painting. Radical focus. Just like to get done. Washing is something where you gotta you gotta move quick when doing a wash because it'll start to stain and pool up in ways you don't want it to. So glazes, anything when you're using thin paint, you gotta keep moving. Finish the area, right? Like that, you can see, like right there. See how it made that drip? It tide stain. That's what we say when we say coffee staining, that drip shape, because the paint is thin. This is almost like I planned it. Because the paint is so thin, what happens is the way coffee rings work is if you look at it, the pigment, the coffee, right, grinds that's in there, the little slim parts, go out to the outside of the bubble, the droplet of water. All of that will collect along the outside edge of the bubble. So that then when the bubble evaporates, you get a ring, right? And same thing with paint, right? When it's thin, the paint pigments will move out towards the outside edges. You just saw me wipe that off, but it had already started to dry around the edges where that pigment was collating, right? And so that would be, if on the model, that would be a real pain to get rid of. On the side of the base, it's not a big deal, but on anywhere on the model, that's why when you're doing washes or glazes, keep moving, right? Keep covering the surface. Like if I were doing this tree trunk, I would move from, one side into a part where maybe like right there where I have that vertical that could cause a dividing line. So I would do everything inside that area. Then I would come and do this one, and this one would probably have to move over until maybe where my color changes for my shadows, right? I could probably blend in that without too much problem. But on this surface, I'd have to do the whole thing all the way around to like here, where this darkness is, so that you don't wind up getting that tide staining going on, because boy, is it a pain in the butt to take care of later on. Oh, you'll love the Evo bag. It's crazy. Never order a hairy buffalo at a British pub near the end of the night. Wait. I would never order a hairy buffalo anyway. I feel like that's a really bad thing to say out loud at a bar. It might not even be legal anymore. They pour the mixing mat into a glass. Oh. Like that just is like, I get visions of like wringing out the what's it called? The rag, but it is like mildewy, like a dirty rag, and they strain the dirty rag out into a glass and bet doing that. I had buddies that would do that, and they'd be like, how much if I drink the rag water? I'd be like, I don't want to see you die, so I'm not going to take this bet up. It's horrible. Horrible. T. Schmidt says, how long did it take you to get used to talking to chat? Because just talking to an empty room feels weird. That's an interesting question. For me, I think it's a little bit different because I grew up doing all forms of different entertainment stuff. I had done voiceover work. I had done, obviously, singing in a studio to yourself, and recording. And then, of course, being live where there's lots of people is totally different. But, when I would do it, I would treat the camera as the crowd, which it is. Even if there's nobody there, you got to think like that. So looking at the camera, talking to you as if you're sitting there on the other side is what you would have to do in the recording booth, right? Because I couldn't always see. Some of the recording booths were like, what's it called? One-way mirror, two-way mirror, one-way mirror, two-way mirror? Where you couldn't see the people in the recording booth, but they could talk to you. And so you'd be looking through this piece of glass. You knew they were over there. You just couldn't lock eyes with anybody. And so I had that as kind of a mechanism, as odd as it sounds, that you just got used to that. So it's never a problem to like just talk into a room. Now, it's funny for everybody around you that would bring it in. Like, Jen would be like, she'd hear you talking and she'd come in, and it was hard, I think, for her to get used to it at the beginning, but she sat right into it too, right? Because the chat, as long as chat is active, if you start a stream and you don't have anybody in stream, then that's always tough, but that's where you really practice and get good. Say what you want to hear the way you want to hear it is the way I tell people. Like, I've done a bunch of seminars at conventions and stuff telling people about streaming, and this is one of the big ones that would come up, is how do you get started when you don't have anybody there and you're basically talking to your bot, right? And maybe your one friend or two friends that are there to support you. Talk to those people that may not even exist, but talk to them and get your voice right. Use that as practice time, because I can tell you, like, hunting around, if you were to go right now and go all over Twitch and just randomly go in on people with very few viewers, especially in the painting world, you're going to show up and there's not going to be much going on. It's going to be quiet and painting, right? And so that's tough to break through, because I've been into streams where I've joined in and I've chatted and waited and waited and waited and waited, and you can't do anything to get their attention, right? Because I don't know if they have like a soundboard, and I don't know what to do, and it's not on their thing, and they're new, and I really want to support them and be supportive, and they just don't talk, and so you scoot on to the next one. So that one's tough. But if you get to one and they're talking and you're like, why are you talking? There's nobody here. That's the best thing ever, right? That's the perp that stay, because they're like, I don't care. I'm still just talking to myself. It's great. So. Yeah, the Neo's great too. Get a second Neo. Go for broke. How do you get used to how wet paint color changes when it dries? Do test strips or by painting enough minis? Jay Tyler asked. Great question. So wet paint is generally going to be brighter. And that can come from multiple things. It's not because the pigment changes, but the reflectivity of the pigment changes, because when it's wet, it reflects, right? Wet paint has a shine to it, right? Like you're looking at this, that has a shine to it, but our paint is very matte. Look at the dried paint around it. Looks like two different colors. It's not. It's the exact same hue, right? It's just that you're seeing the reflectivity of it, and that makes it feel brighter. So wet paint, typically brighter than what it will dry as. How much so depends on the color and the brand of paint in a lot of cases. With ours, it can seem to go from much brighter to much darker, like this does here, because of how matte our paints are. The more satiny or the more gloss that's in a paint, the less of a drastic change there will be. But yeah, it's really just getting a feel for it, right? And testing. If you wanted to test it, paint with the paint first and see what it looks like at the end. I feel like for me, I'm less interested in color. I'm interested in what's called value and volumes, meaning that I want good darks and then brighter highlights, and color is kind of tertiary to me. I kind of know that, hey, I want this wood to be brownish, greenish, whatever, and I go that direction, but I make the color up as I go. I don't really ever go into a model saying, if I was painting yellow armor, I would probably go in and say, here's my base, here's my midtone, here's my highlight that I'm starting with. But generally when I pick up a model, I don't care. I really just want to start with dark colors, move to bright colors. And if you can tune your brain into that and starting to learn how to focus on shadow, midtone, and highlight, and that's the very simplified version. Obviously, we use more than just those three values. But if you can tune into that, think in terms of painting with just white and black, what you would have to do to make things look like what they were supposed to be. You'd have all these shades of gray that you'd be painting in. If you can kind of tune to doing that, then you'll start to find that the variation in the color won't matter as much, right? So you won't care if a color is a little bit different when it dries than when you started painting with it. It should be the same color. If you're playing with a color that starts blue and dries purple, then maybe there's something funky going on. But
I gotta go.
Okay. Oh, that's here?
Yeah.
What do you have? Oh, okay, cool. Awkward. Easiest thing to do is talk about what you're doing. Oh yeah, if you're streaming, for sure. Yep. A lot of dark paints seem darker when wet too. Depends. Yeah, on the darker paints, if you're looking at them, the shine of it will give you more contrast, and it can make it look like it's a little bit darker, especially with matte colors. Correct. That's a good point. Nor, as always, you have to go grocery shopping. What? We didn't even talk about food today. Awkwardish, thank you. Yep, Jen's out. I'm out too. And for being rad folks. I love being rad folks. Thank you for that, Awkwardish, and thank you for hanging out with us. Everybody here, if you're new here, if you showed up in the Intraventus raid, thank you for coming in and hanging out with us. We are Monument Hobbies. We make this wonderful brand of paint called Proacryl. You may have seen Intraventus painting with them from time to time. And we paint models. We throw our paint on models live 5 days a week from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here out of Phoenix, Arizona in the U.S., and love to do it just so we can hang out with you guys and gals and give you pointers, answer questions, help you on your journey so you can find some confidence and maybe taking that next step, trying something new, doing something fun with color on miniatures. It's great. If you don't do it, you should. It's a wonderful gateway drug to the rest of your nerd life. So thanks so much. If you are new around here and find us for the first time, please hit that follow button. We'd love to see you back. I got links. Jen put the links up in chat. Scroll back up in chat. You've got links to Monument Hobbies, the store, where you can go check out all of our products. The FLGS link, which will show you all the local stores across the globe that sell our products. Please support your local stores. They do all the hard work and provide a place for you to go and game and hang out with friends. That's awesome. As well as our Discord, where you can join, closing in on 5,000 amazing artists just like you guys, where you can get inspiration, hang out, make new friends, tell jokes, share recipes, do all sorts of really cool stuff. So we've got a great community over there we'd love to have you be part of. So we'd love to see you. I'll be solo again with Jen tomorrow, and then Baby J will be back on Wednesday, and then I'm out. I'm out for 7 days. I won't be here from Thursday till a week, 2 weeks from today. So these next 2 days are the only days we have together, chat, until the 30th. So make sure you show back up. Hang out with me. Tell some bad fart jokes or some good fart jokes. Right? So stick around. I'm going to find somebody to raid. I have to do it. She left me. So I'm going to find somebody to raid. So stick around. Don't hold your breath. And have some wonderful hobby action as we go off in the evening. And I'll see you on the flip side. All right, gang? Adios.